it just warped my mind so bad that the welfare of my family never ever crossed my mind. It wasn't until I'd lost the money that I thought, well, what am I going to do here? To think now, sitting here, that I could have done that to my daughter, who was only 2 at the time, and I was away gambling the money that was for Disneyland. My dad was an alcoholic and my mum suffered domestic abuse. And a lot of the times I would take myself out of the house just to get away from the situation. That obviously played a part in why I wanted to join the army, and my thought process around it was just to get away from home.
Tell us a little bit about how the gambling started and what effect did it have on your life?
So I actually started out buying clothes. I was buying obscene amounts of clothes just to sort of make myself feel better. I then found arcades and it kind of substituted the clothes, and from there, when I turned 18, obviously the bookmakers you couldn't go in until you were 18, and I sort of found that, and there was a lot of people who gambled in the army anyway, so to me it was just the norm. It just ruined my career, to be honest. I was a good soldier. I believe I was a good soldier. Through Harrogate, I was a sort of junior NCO, and when I got to battalion I was really keen. I was up for promotion when I came back to Afghanistan, and I'd done a hell of a lot of my gambling in Afghanistan at the time, playing poker with people and cashing cheques for dollars just to gamble with at cards. And when I got back to Afghanistan with my tour money, it was like Millionaire's Weekend, as they call it, and I was just away down the bookies gambling the tour money, and just made me my motivation was really low at the time, and sort of just ruined my career almost. It just turned into a different person. I was stealing to fund gambling. I was involved with the stores at the time. I'd maybe go into people's rooms and take money and stuff, and it was just the type of person I was. It was almost sort of as if it just plants something in your head and turns you into a completely different person. I was taking out payday loans. I was borrowing money off people that I served with. I think one time I phoned my wife. Laura was my girlfriend at the time. I phoned Laura and I'd said that you're talking about a government-run organisation, and I had sort of lied that the army hadn't paid my wages into my account, and you're going to need to transfer me money. And there was no reason why she wouldn't believe it, you know. And she transferred like £1,100 it was at the time into my account, and I think it lasted a couple of days, and before I know it you were going a month with no wages, you know, and having to go up to your sergeant major's office and beg for money for the hungry soldier, they called it at the time. And it was your pride and how it felt, and I sort of knew I had a problem because I'd been to GE in the past. I knew that there was obviously a reason why people would ask me to go to Gamblers Anonymous. I remember saying when Blake was born, this is going to be the final straw. I'm stopping gambling. I'm my dad now. I'm not going to gamble again. And I remember going out to work at night. I was working on the railway at the time, and Laura would say, "Where's Daddy going?" And Blake would sort of mutter, "Work for pennies for Disneyland." And I was going out on track at night and gambling on like virtual races with like the Disneyland money and thinking it was okay. Do you know what I mean? And it just warped my mind so bad that the welfare of my family never ever crossed my mind. It wasn't until I'd lost the money that I thought, well, what am I going to do here? I tell that story because it's only sort of recently that I've been able to talk about it without getting emotional, you know. And to think now, sitting here, that I could have done that to my daughter, who was only 2 at the time. She was quite innocent, you know. She never knew what was going on, and I was away gambling the money that was for Disneyland. I sort of had a breakdown, and a lot of the stuff about my past came out when my mother-in-law was obviously questioning me. It was her daughter helped me that I've done this to, and she was sort of questioning why have you done this. And then all this stuff came out about my past, and I started speaking about my dad and moving from all my teens in these women's aid hostels and growing up really without a father figure sort of thing, you know. And all that just sort of poured out. So I knew within myself that there was just something that had sort of clicked, that it was I turned a corner and I started speaking about stuff. And as mental as it sounds, the gambling was the easy part. Stopping gambling was the easy part. It was once I sort of went to Gamblers Anonymous the second time, speaking about myself and what I had going on in my own head was the hardest part. It's quite hard. It's quite sad to see people who are suffering, because I know I know through my own experience what they've been through, and sitting there and watching somebody go through that, it's quite, it brings a lot back on myself, you know, and the sort of journey with the army was, I just remember how I felt when I served, and I was already isolated in the camps, and you can go into your single room and lock the door and just ignore the world, and it was just a lonely place to be doing it, you know. And I think with the army thing now is, at the time there was never a lot of awareness when I served about gambling, that there's just got to be, something's got to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes, you know. And if there's no awareness, then these people who are suffering aren't going to know where to go to get help. You just need to speak about how you feel and tell somebody about your problems you've got on, what you've got going on, and not to think that there's never a way out from gambling, because there is. And a lot of the time, as I said, gambling's not the biggest issue. It's the carnage you've caused within the house or within your family that then becomes the biggest issue, the aftermath, when you stop gambling, how you're going to deal with it. So I would just tell people to reach out and look at organisations that are maybe helping people with gambling, touch with people who, like myself, who have been off of it for X amount of time, that they can do it. And these people are examples. I'm an example sitting here today that you can do it, do you know what I mean?